Hello and welcome, it's me, Marls44. Welcome back to another Cardfight Vanguard deck profile. Today's deck profile, we have the Soulless OTT update post GBT05 with Susanoo CoCo. Susanoo got a bunch of support, and yeah, we're doing this update. Last week I did Witches, so if you guys want to look at that one, go ahead and go check it out. I prefer this version. It's a bit more aggressive. You don't get as many, pluses, but it's pretty close. And I think the bit of aggressiveness definitely helps with ending games, because that's what Oracle always, struggled at sometimes. So yeah, Witches is up. Still completely viable as well. I just think this one's better. So, play which one you want. Go check out the other one I did if you want to check it out. And make that one. But if you want to go with this one, stick here because we're jumping right into the deck profile. Crazy strong deck, honestly. Really strong deck. Very consistent. Very good. It does Oracle things, and it does put on quite a bit of pressure too, and that makes it quite consistent with the pluses, pressure, and just, all around. So, anyway, starter, Little Witch LuLu, same thing, get ready your soul, all that stuff. Best Oracle starter. Then we have 4 Scarlet Witch CoCo, so you're starting Vanguard still. Still a great starting Vanguard, like for this. So yeah, and then we have 4 Supreme Heavenly Battle Deity. Susanoo. So for her, same lineup as the first one I did. Susanoo still getting you those pluses you need when you stride, and really makes quite a heck of a difference, and just a good card. I mean, even if you write it first, it still works out pretty well. It doesn't work out as well, but it still works out pretty well. I find that it works out better when you ride Susanoo first rather than the other witch in the Witches one, because you can continuously stack with her each turn when you stride, whereas the other one, it's like you have to call it or write it. So that's another thing I found, right? And then we have 4 Ame-no card, Rigid Crane. What it does, it's Oracle ability. What the Oracle ability is when you have 5 or more cards in your hand, so you always attack with this card, after the Vanguard attacks, pretty much. I mean, you normally do anyways. You normally attack with the Vanguard first anyways, so ain't no stand-in effects in this deck. So with so the Oracle ability, 5 cards in hand or more, and during your turn it gets plus 2k, and it also, when it hits a Vanguard, you get to unflip and soul charge 1. The unflipping, actually, I found made a much bigger difference in this deck because of the fact that you use Susanoo's every single time you stride, so you do run through it fast. Especially with Takemikazuchi and CoCo. So it's nice to get the unflips and being able to get more pluses. You stack the bottom of your deck as you wish, so you can kind of try to remember that if you can. Nice speeder to have in front of LuLu as well. And the soul charging you actually do use, so that's really big. There's a big pressure card that you can use with the soul charging. So it's huge. It's honestly really big with this deck. I don't know why I just took that off. I never do that. That was weird. Anyways, then we got 4 silent toms. So your toms, super important. Need 4 of them. And honestly, you can get him to swing for like over the 20k in this deck, which is huge because Oracle's never been able to do that with Tom. This is the first time Oracle can have Tom swinging over 20k. He swings for 22 with a certain combination. But normally the highest he can get is like 16, right? So that's pretty big. And we have 3 Promised Daughters. So this is kind of debatable about how many you can run. I'll explain why in a second. But there's super huge in this deck with the new stride unit and putting on pressure. And with how many pluses you get, it's pretty strong, and it puts on tons of pressure with its, drop a card add 5k. I mean, hell, you have CoCo in hand, you have Stride Enabler, just drop CoCo, gains 5k, and like, it becomes super powerful. Any of the grade 3s you could drop if you have the Stride Enabler. That's super important, and I mean, she puts on so much pressure with the new Stride unit that it's ridiculous. So that's why I run 3 of her and not 2, because if I did run 2, I'd be running 2 of this other card, but I'm only running 1 of a new card, Imperial Vanguard Akagi. I'll explain why in a second. What he does first is G-Break 1, Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1 when this unit is placed on rear guard. If you have a grade 3 or grade Vanguard, go with Susanoo in its card name. Pay the cost. If you do, look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put 1 in your hand, put the other on the deck, on the bottom of your deck. And it also gets plus 2k, so he becomes 11k beater till end of turn. So the reason I'm only playing 1 of these is I find I kind of rarely use it. He's there just to help, just to get you another plus, you know, be a little 11k beater if you need it, but only when you really can. So like, you don't normally use this, but when you can, you have it, which is why you only play 1. Because I find I do run out of counterblast really quick with these 2 on top of Takemikazuchi. Even when I ride Susanoo first, sometimes this is debatable whether or not I'd use it. I find that I use it more if I have to ride Susanoo first, but still, it's quite rare that you'll get to use this. What's nice is Rigid Crane can help you use him because of the unflipping, so it puts that pressure on. But normally Rigid Crane won't hit because, you know, they'll know you can use Susanoo's skill more than, so Rigid Crane normally hits like once, but it honestly doesn't affect him as much as you'd hope. So just 1 of him, just when you can use it for a little more support. It's also why I run 3 Promised Daughter, because you know, the Promised Daughter is pretty big in this deck, like really big, with put on pressure. Like Tom and Promised Daughter put on like some of the most pressure in the deck. So he's nice that I can run 1 of him, and that's all I really need. You can switch out a Promised Daughter for a second one, but I really highly don't recommend it. I highly recommend this lineup. This lineup's beautiful, so much pressure, and just super consistent, honestly. Yeah, normally with these guys, these guys are pretty easy to get that Oracle ability with, honestly, as well. The damage and flipping and everything, jeez, man. Oh, I hope you don't see my arm. I'm sorry. Anyways, we got 4 damage on Flipper Perfect Guard. These are not the perfect guards you want. I'll have a picture right here just to show you the perfect guard like I did with the Witches one, the right one. Perfect guards are the hardest to get, so they're the only thing I couldn't get, unfortunately, for this update. But whatever, you know, you know which perfect guard it is. Anyways, 4 Stride Enablers. Divine Sword guy. 4 of these, yep, super good. You know, there's Stride Enablers, and I mean, as I said with Promised Daughter, you know, when you get the chance to drop a grade 3, take the chance, because it's worth it if you have a Stride Enabler to drop the grade 3, because then, well, you can power up Promised Daughter, and as I said, it is pretty big for her, so, yeah. Then we have 3 Oracle Guardian Gemini. Now, I know this looks weird with Tom, but let me explain, because the new card explains it all. 2 of a new card, Imperial Shrine Guard Sumiyoshi. So what this guy does is he's G-Break 1, Oracle ability, Soul Blast 1 when this unit boosts. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Susanoo in its card name, you can pay the cost. If you do, this unit gets plus 3k until end of the battle. So this card's freaking huge. He's the big reason this deck is, in my opinion, much better than the Witches. He's the main reason. Why? Because he does so much for this deck, it's ridiculous. Now, I know 3 Gemini looks kind of eh, but you don't normally have Gemini behind your Vanguard anymore, with, you know, having Susanoo anyways. Because you ride into Susanoo right after CoCo, so it really doesn't matter that much. And especially these guys can, you know, boost for essentially a bit more than Gemini as well, so it's not as much of a scare. I know it seems weird with Tom, but he can actually work really well behind Tom, and it puts on a lot of pressure on your opponent to guard this even more, which is pretty important. It also actually allows you to use Psychic Bird's ability to your advantage if you really need to put on more pressure. So that's really big. But yeah, I'll explain like how it works a bit more once we move on to the stride unit. That really helps that out even better. But you can get Tom to swing for 18k with this card, so that's nice. Normally it's either this card or this card, one of these two that I have behind Tom, and I never have a concern. You know, Tom's always targeted and everything, so the one turn isn't huge. And I mean, if anything, if you have another Tom in hand, you can wait for it, or if you have, you know, Gemini on the other side, which you normally do, it's normally one here and one here, like opposite sides, so you can intercept with whoever's there and then get Tom in front of Gemini for now. So it's honestly not that hard, and it's honestly really, really good. Okay, so we have 4 of the new trigger, Susanoo support trigger, 4 of them. Divine Sword Kusanagi. What it does is you put it in your soul when your Vanguard attacks. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Susanoo in its card name, you may pay the cost. If you do draw a card, choose up to one of your Vanguards, and it gets power plus 5,000 until end of turn. End of the battle, sorry. So just a power up for Susanoo. Also goes to the soul, which is nice. We have 4 Psychic Bird. Yeah, 4 of him. Both cards go into soul, so that is actually pretty handy for, you know, the grade 1. After you ride into Susanoo, you're not worried about, you know, emptying your soul. You're more worried about putting cards into the soul. It seems weird to play LuLu then, but honestly, it actually works out perfectly, and it's no concern at all to play LuLu. You have ways of putting cards into the soul, and I mean, most of the time, you only get a couple soul blasts with him anyways, especially with only running 2, so the one ride and the one hit with Rigid Crane or the one Psychic Bird, yeah. Sometimes you'll get 3. So yeah, 4 Nike as well, and then 4 Lozenge Magus, special one. So 12 crit, 4 heal. Now let's move on to our stride units. So we have 4 of the new card, new stride unit. 4 Dragon Destroyer Battle Deity Kusanagi. What she does is, once per turn, choose face down card, name this card, flip face up, and it gets, if this card hits, it gets the Kirin ability where, check top 2, if it hits, put one in your hand, put the other bottom of the deck. It also gets a second ability where continuous, Vanguard, all your units gets plus 2k. So, at first that didn't seem like much. But when I looked at it, it's actually quite a big deal with some of these cards, and it's part of what makes him so good with it. Like, this deck works out so smoothly, it's ridiculous with this card. So, let's do this, for example. Kusanagi, right? So we have, let's start with Proma's daughter. We don't need Gemini. I don't know why I brought Gemini. Actually, I do know why. Because of Rigid Crane. So that would put Rigid Crane with the Oracle ability at 13, Gemini would be 10, so that's a 23k hit. That's pretty much the highest Rigid Crane will go, unless it's boosted by this. But really, that's just an extra 2k, so it'd just be 25, so that's no concern. He's really, really good behind Tom and Promise Daughter. Those are the 2 you want this guy behind. Those are your main focuses. Promise Daughter, with all that power up, you could swing for 26. Silent Tom, with all that power up, you could swing for 22. That's huge. And especially if you get lucky enough to have them in 2 different columns, which you could, that's really, really scary. And like that's 22, 26, and like that's nuts. You know? It's a Silent Tom 22, not a normal like Rigid Crane 22, 23 thing, but it's so much power. Oops, I dropped my card. So much power, and it just can get really crazy powerful. So yeah, just an amazing finisher card. You use it on your last 2 well, depending, but you know, you normally use it your after you stride 2 Takemikazukis, after you stride this card, and after your first one. So this is normally your 3rd and 4th stride, the Kusanagi, and you should finish the game with the second time. If not, you do have Blizza, and you also have Kirin. Kirin, you're starting a stride unit, of course. And Takemikazuchi, you only really get her off once. So a nice +2, just like CoCo, pretty much, but it's more specific, like you get to choose your cards. Blizza, there for ending games, Kusanagi can't, after all that crazy amounts of pressure that I showed you, so if that doesn't finish it, you have Blizza, so don't worry about that. Yeah. Anyways, that's really why, like, I find this deck much better. There's just more not even a little, just a lot more pressure on top of just getting almost as much pluses as the witches do, which is why I prefer this version, and I think it's better, and I like to be a little aggressive with all those pluses, right? So, anyways, thank you guys for joining me in this update. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think, and that's about it. We'll see you guys next time. If you guys want to see more videos from me, on the left, there are Let's Play videos, so you can go check those out. And if you're not up for those, on the right, there are Cardfight Vanguard videos, so you can go check those out. And if you're still not up for those, I have Smash Bros, Pokemon, and tons more side series on my channel. Also down below is my Smash Tourney channel, where we do Smash Tourneys, Salty Sweets, and more. And don't forget to check out my sites at the top there. That's it, and I hope you all enjoy!